All right. Welcome to this session. We are live, and I want to welcome all members. Today, we are going to be discussing a very important aspect. Many of us try to make ends meet by trying out different things in life. You find that you're a teacher, and you have some other work that you want to do in order to make ends meet. So sometimes it is not easy to balance. Sometimes you want to add this and the other. So today we are going to be hearing from one of our colleagues. He's going to be sharing with us experiences, and then we shall also tap into the rest of us. Like balancing work is something that all of us will face on a daily. And also we have several professions. So our friend Ssebalamu Erick Tom, he has tried out working as a DeeJay. Recently, by the way, I saw in these programs of BIT, I saw something to do with a profession of a DeeJay. It is a fully fledged profession, and there are some of these things that we may not have looked at, but these are things that we shall be able to relate to. So without wasting a lot of time, I'm going to be inviting Mr. Eric to introduce himself. But before he does that, this is the Teach One series. This is an initiative, a program by the ICT Association of Uganda. I'm standing in for Mr. Dumba Stephen, who is the national coordinator, and I'm the former national coordinator of the ICT Association. I handed over last year, but I'm still an active member. And this program is supported by MK Graphics. MK Graphics, our friend Wamono has lost a father, so he's the one who normally does for us the graphics, and also the Geek Village, who do computer repair, and then Shabita Uganda, who have the digital library with the resources that we use. So that is the program. We keep supporting it, and we keep running it every week. Okay, so that's just for the introductions. So at this time, I'm going to request that we first continue, and then after that, we shall give other members a chance to say something. You'll get a chance to introduce yourself, what you do. Do you only do one job, or you do other things later on? But let us first hear from Ssebalamu Erick, shares with us some experiences, and then we shall open up the questions and discussions. Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Erick. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I hope you are all able to get me.
Yes.
Okay. So I would begin with introducing myself to everyone. My name is Ssebalamu Erick Tom, a teacher of ICT by profession, and at the same time, a very proud DeeJay. I'm very proud because this is something that I've had passion for some good time. And besides, it is something that most of the times I looked up to for some good time since then when I was still young. So being a teacher is a profession that I love very much because my ICT at some point cuts across. I am a mathematics and ICT teacher for starters, who teaches ICT and mathematics in Entebbe. I teach mathematics at Victorian High School Entebbe, at Shua Prospect Secondary School, Chitala, and also the Adult Education Center. I also do DJing for some companies that have sound together with Magic 100 FM. Magic 100 FM is a radio show that I normally have on Saturdays early morning. So once in a while, if it is just very okay with you, it can be very fine. We can always interact. I have a gig at Forest Resort Reza. I work for SRM events. And at the same time, Performs mobile disco, where I play at functions, more so those functions that require a little bit of professionalism. When I talk about professionalism, I mean things to do with Kwanjula, the weddings, and others, not specifically people who are interested in entertainment, unlike most of the DJs that we normally have around. Now, why should someone do more than one profession? I don't know if the rest are able to hear me still.
Yeah, we can hear you very well.
Mm.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, basically, first of all, I'm talking of why would you choose to do DJ or to have more than one task? I understand some people are people who are good at football because most of the teachers I've interacted with are gifted differently. We have those who are good at football. You have those who are good at maybe tennis or any other games. Some are even actors, but in most cases you find that these are people who normally don't have the time because of the way the situation normally takes us. And because of survival, you realize that sometimes it is always very good to have more than one source of income. Because at the end of the day, we as teachers of ICT, we understand better what we go through to earn a living. So why would one think of having more than one profession? At first, I would think of diversification of skills. Realize that when you're doing two contradictory skills, you are able to diversify your energy into different fields. This is something that happens so much because as you diversify, you tend to interact and get to know so much about how some things are supposed to be. Sometimes we look at income generation. I think that one is best understood by each and everyone around, that whenever you want to earn something,
Yes.
one profession, especially if, yes, please. Yes,
Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Rogers.
Can you go ahead? Go ahead. Okay.
Okay. So I was talking of personal fulfillment because in most cases, the driving factor that takes many of us into decisions that we don't normally want, or maybe things that would not be comfortable with some people, is because of fulfillment. I personally love the DJing, I love the music, and I love how I do it. Most of the times, why I talk about personal fulfillment is that we are into jobs that stress us so much. There are days you go to school, you get a lot of stress from whatever happens. But then these other side hustles, the music and the other bit of entertainment, gives you personal fulfillment. That one gives you the happiness and gives you the pleasure to continue with work for the following day when you are very conversant with whatever you have to do. However, I would also wish to talk about networking. Your real work is always broad. I'm personally a teacher, at the same time a DJ, but I'm very proud of the network I've formed around teachers. This is a situation where we have more than, actually one teacher teaching more than two schools. The networking helps in that you find that each of these schools, after knowing that you are affiliated to SME, everything tends to become easier for you. You source the market immediately. And on that very note, this networking right now, we are talking as ICT teachers. Who knows, if I was not a teacher, I would not be able to talk to people who are into ICT teaching. So the networking becomes a very important aspect and bit. However, still, this is something that also has disadvantages because you need to weigh in. Sometimes it is not good to have a skill that you leave behind because of other things that we need to fulfill over time. So eventually you realize that at some point there is a lot of burnout and stress. Burnout and stress means that as you are doing these two, it is hard to completely balance the different careers. In most cases, you find that you have insufficient sleep, you have exhaustion. At some point, the stress is just too much. But then, in my other bit of the same session that we are having today, I'll be taking you through how to have those ones balanced. Then we also have lack of specialization. Sometimes people are easily taken up, especially whenever you're doing two contradicting professions. You find that someone fails to specialize. If you are a footballer, you could find that sometimes it is completely very hard for people to understand whatever you are doing. Why? You could dress up like a footballer, but yet you're going to class. And that is something that would not be so good most of the times. You could realize that still you could have conflicts with your schedules. You have conflicts with how you schedule your programs. In most cases, why? Because you could be scheduled on a timetable somewhere, and yet at the same point, it is just very hard. I beg to get closer to this. Okay. It's the schedule conflict. That is where I am. Realize that you are teaching and you are doing your other side gig, which is very time conscious. So you could find problems with meeting deadlines. Some of us have exams to set that have to meet particular deadlines, but then at some point you are unable because of your many other commitments. Still, as we are thinking of another profession to accompany teaching, we have loss of reputation and credibility. Pursuing two separate professions can cause loss of credibility, probably DJing in another meet as a class teacher of a certain class. Why do I talk about the reputation? Because as we are trying to look for money, so many things don't normally go on so well. So things tend to be a little hard at some point. You all understand what happens, especially in areas of entertainment. So the reputation and credibility, someone will look at you and just doesn't believe you can have content you can deliver to their students or their children because they are looking not to be easily affiliated with what you are trying to come up with. We still have a difficulty in consistency. It is just very unpredictable. Sometimes things just don't go on the way we wish to see them going on. Why? Because balancing two jobs makes it challenging, especially to balance working hours. This affects the professions and ability to fulfill responsibility. Now, from there, we also think of how do you balance time? How do we have to balance this time? For instance, you are, I normally want to affiliate this and relate it so much to the other professions that we have. We have people who are teachers. At the same time, they are so much into games and sports. They are too much into acting. They are too much into building because everyone is gifted differently. So the basic way we can
We think we are losing We are losing our presenter. Yes, you are back. I think we were losing you, but I think you are back.
Yes, I'm back, Mr. Rogers. Hello. Are you able to hear me? Are we together? Yes?
I can hear you. Mm.
So I can proceed?
Yes.
Okay. So I was mainly talking about creating a schedule and trying to make sure that everything just falls within the schedule that we've planned for. The second one, we could also learn to manage your time effectively. It is always very good to keep a time log, which can help identify areas where you may be wasting time and allow such time to make necessary improvements. So that also helps to recognize patterns, resulting in more allocation of time. Why does it happen that way? If you don't manage time effectively, it becomes very hard. Sometimes it might be a little hard to deliver to the fullest to these particular people, but even the people we are working for need to understand what we go through to work for them. That I'm timetabled, I have to be here at midday today, but then I have a program. So managing time effectively means reducing all the time that you would be wasting in a particular period of time or activity. Then one other better and most important thing is learning to delegate. We as teachers, especially of mathematics and ICT, most of the times we try so much to delegate, and our bosses are very much interested in seeing you around. This is the same thing that happens with DeeJay. You could play a song that would be very okay for everyone to listen to as long as it is you who has played it. And some other person, the one you've delegated, could be doing what is right. But the clients and the bosses that we normally get to give us business normally trust you as an individual. So what happens eventually? You could find that someone, for example, especially when I'm into those other places of entertainment at night, some of us are very good. We love old music. You could find someone who loves the songs from Paulo Cafero very much. But these are people who are okay with the song being played by you yourself. Because why? They know the brand, they know our DJ is Tosmic, and anytime he's playing, everything just has to happen perfectly, regardless of the song you are playing or whom you are playing it for. So you have to learn to delegate. But learning to delegate by putting into consideration the nature of the audience you have and how best they can try to understand you at times. So you enlist the help of peers or students who are willing to support others. That would also be very okay, especially if you are into subjects that need discussion. You can entrust the students. I'm personally a patron of prefects in one of my schools, but I make sure, because I know my schedule is always tight, you empower the leaders to get and pick a leaf from you so that your absence is not felt more so when things are not right, especially when they're happening with the leaders that you have around. We could also think of creating work boundaries. You have to create work boundaries between work and personal life, and you adhere to the attitudes. You work all hours of the day and take breaks as necessary. If you know Sunday is for resting, create the work boundary that though I'm working this hard, I'm not supposed to work beyond this. Because most of the times, by the time Sunday ends, it is already Monday. And unknowingly, if you don't create the work boundary and get yourself time to have that personal time of sleeping and doing something of your own, then eventually you can even black out at work, which we don't normally love to see happening. Then identify opportunities to combine professions. For instance, use technology to teach math. I'm very thankful to the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda, because you are coming up with initiatives of this kind where each one of us can help teach one. Last week, we had the president of Itau, and that is Mr. Luchamuzi Ronald. He took us through how to set a standard mock paper, and we really loved whatever was happening. At some point, the sample paper that even had to share on the Itau group, I was looking into the paper, but people were even appreciating the typesetting skills. These are things that you would not find anywhere else. But now the two professions begin getting combined. That as the DJs are interacting with the ICT devices, it is the same thing that is happening. That a teacher of ICT needs to understand. There is a day I was still on this very program, the Each One Teach One series, and someone was taking us through the computer viruses. That is something that you realize that after some time, there is a way you combine professions. As a DJ right now, I can install Windows. Where I got the skills from, that was Itau, one of the workshops we had last year at Makerere College. I hope, Mr. Rogers, you remember. We had a workshop at Makerere College. So many times we've even had the word camps. And I'm very proud to say that my skills from web design, from WordPress, have also come up as a result of
Yes.
that would not happen if things were not happening the right way. And then you have to stay organized. You keep things organized. This ensures, I have my content for ICT. And by the way, one of the reasons why I fell in love with the subjects that I teach is that
yes, Tom, we were losing you again. Maybe what you're going to do within like 4 minutes, you can wrap up on these initial remarks. And then
I think I had issues with the network. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, you are clear.
Yes,
so I was saying that
definitely.
At 8:30, I want to bring in the audience, ask you some questions, and then also hear experiences from other members. So you give
Okay.
a bit.
Okay. Since I have 3 minutes, I'm trying to finalize. I'm sure I'm only going to use one. The last thing that I was talking about was being organized. You understand how best you have to do what. You create the personal time once in a while, I need this time to prepare for this kind of topic, this kind of presentation. And whenever we prepare this kind of presentations, being organized alone means you go an extra mile to organize both professions. I'm having probably a wedding to play on Sunday. It is for people of this culture. I need to organize a playlist for them. So that is what happens. You stay organized, and eventually everything can work out. That is all I can share with you for now. Meanwhile, I'm very open to discussion, and I hope to learn from each one who is online at this moment. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Tom, I'm going to be the first person to ask you a question. But before I ask you a question, you see, I'm a trainer of the new curriculum, and earlier this year, we were having this thing of DIT and professions. And I mentioned about this at the beginning. And when I was looking at these professions, right now here I'm on the DIT website. I hope you can see my screen. And when I scrolled through, I saw this joke. You see, some of these professions, at first we thought they are not formal professions. They are things which are just there. But people are making money. People are making money. So I've opened this jockey thing. I know right now the program is a bit on hold, but these are things which were worked on. With time, they'll resume. I don't know how many schools in Uganda we are preparing their learners really for DeeJay. I don't know whether it is one of the things you thought you'd maybe encourage your students to take on. But when I look at the duties, you talked about organizing a playlist for a wedding. So it is one of the duties they are putting here: organizing playlists, analyzing songs, interpreting theme. they may call you for a wedding. You need to know if someone is a Moroccan, don't play for them music they don't want. So there
Yes,
are a lot of
definitely.
things here that I'm seeing here. Surveying the work area, knowing security, setting equipment. I'm seeing many things in here. I know some of these things you do them, and some of them maybe they are in here. What I wanted to ask you is, how is your, tell us something about the work, what you have been telling us as pro tips. When you leave school in the evening, if you do your DJs at night, or is it during the day? Do you do DJ for a wedding, for a day function, for the other disco? How is your event? How is your day like as a DJ? If you have a work, for example, on a Saturday or on an evening, how is what are those tools you use, and what are the main duties that you do as a DJ?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. Now, briefly, this is how my schedule normally is. For example, if I have a gig on Saturday, we normally call them gigs. If I have a wedding that I have to play, if I have probably, by the way, including school parties. However much I don't normally do that with the schools where I teach, because students normally lose track. However much, some still look at you as a role model, more so when they know you are someone who is educated, but you are into that field, but with your qualifications. And that is something that at some point is good for the students to look at as a role model. Now, briefly, if I'm having a program on Saturday, I normally prefer having bookings set on time. For example, if I'm to work with you in 2 weeks' time, or probably a week's time from now, I would always inspect your site a week before. That is something that I do as a must. Why do I do this? To avoid disappointment on the final day. Some people have budget issues. Someone can tell you, I'm having a small gig. I'm only having a simple kuchala of 30 people. By the moment you reach there, inspecting the venue and looking at everything the way it is supposed to be, you realize that there is a lot of equipment that you need to bring on ground. It is very bad to do substandard work because of budget, because at the end of the day, these are things that eventually end up affecting you, especially in delivery. So what I normally tend to do is I organize, visit the site sometime before, probably a week plus. Then I normally engage and pass by. If it is a place that is within my reach, I make sure I pass by a night before. Someone can tell you I have 30 people. The moment you reach there, they have about 3 tents, and every tent is an 100-seater tent. Most of the times, this one affects your overall productivity, because at the end of the day, this is what we don't want. But that is what I do. Then very early in the morning, because the preparation of the sound system and everything, the equipment that I'll bring is done a day before, and choosing which people to go with. The only reason why this seems to be a professional business is because you understand exactly from how you have to dress and which people you are going to work with and how best you would need to work with them. Because at some point, one of the reasons why I even got the passion for DJing was because we had a lot of issues with people who were DJs when we were still young. You go to a function and even someone tells you DJs are supposed to be behind. Why? They know the characteristics. You are shabby people. You are always working from a place that is very untidy. And these are things that normally come and are always set a day before. When I reach the place where I'm going to work from, the first thing I do, I interact with the MCs, because I know that is how we normally run the program. Without them, things tend to be a little hard. So you make sure you are at the same point, because both of you are service providers, and you know that your presence alone at the function is what brings out the best of your bosses or clients that you have on ground. And assuming I've had obligations very early in the morning, probably exams to mark or to invigilate, because sometimes we have those commitments, I choose a team of people that I trust. That is why in my presentation, I talked about something to do with delegating work. Delegate work to the rightful people. Just know this is a kind of person that I'm very sure will make sure these things reach the venue at the exact time. And that is what happens. Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll ask you maybe another question towards the end as we conclude, but at this time, I would like to bring in other colleagues as well. You could be having a question for Eric, or you could be wanting to share an experience as well. So you just tell us your name and whether you are a teacher of ICT or not, or what do you do, and then be able to make a comment or question, and then we shall be progressing. We have like 20 minutes to conclude this session. So in case you want to speak, please unmute. You can also turn on your camera so that we capture you. We are live on the YouTube channel of the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. So I'm seeing Mr. Musinguzi, you're welcome. Mr. Musinguzi Isaac, you can unmute.
Yes, Mr. Rogers and everybody, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Tom, for that session. Just a small inquiry, Mr. Tom. I want you to take me through the week that has, from your introduction and your submission, I heard you are a TVS. A TVS is teacher of various schools. And you had 3 schools, and you also DeeJay at night. 1 or 2 questions. One would be, take me through the 7 days of the week with the 3 schools and the DJing at night, in line with competency. And also, I'm looking at your life. How do you manage your health? How do you manage your health with this too much on your head? I don't know if I'm clear. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Isaac, your question has been captured. And actually, one of the things we look at is professional health. People may be scared that you don't sleep. Maybe you go to class the next morning when you are not sober. So can you tell us, Mr. Eric?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. Now, briefly, you wanted me to take you through how my week runs. Now, first of all, as I started, I introduced my 3 schools. But if you're to be keen, one of the schools was an adult school. An adult school is a school that normally has lessons between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. strictly. And that means I'm able to have everything done within the other schools, because right now, the maximum these days we can always give to schools are 2 days, especially if you are a teacher. And because we believe everyone these days, the survival of a teacher is mainly moving around part-timing. So you realize that I'm able to have my 2 schools, having adequate time for them, the 2 days very effective. Even if I decide to be there from morning up to late evening, it is just okay. Now, the other issue that was coming in, it is something that I didn't want to mention, more so when I was talking about how to balance the time effectively, because I said you create a schedule, you manage your time effectively, you learn to delegate. I talked about creating work boundaries. There are times that I know that even if someone calls me at this time, regardless of whatever they are going to say, regardless of their business they are bringing, this is time for rest. That is why I said every work that we are doing must have a boundary. There is time that you have to delegate for your own. And you know, this is time for sleeping. And for your information, for me, when I'm even going to rest, I make sure my phone is even off, because I know what it means. However, still, the reason as to why it tends to seem like it is a very busy schedule and what is because these other businesses that we do normally need some vibe. When I say vibe, I mean where people use, sometimes they use some drinks that keep them awake and things to do with that kind. Since we are talking about professional health, I'm a person who doesn't engage so much in that. And if I don't engage so much in that, at some point, it means that I try to be sober all the time. And then one other thing that I didn't talk about was the diet. The teachers who normally see me around school know it. Every time you know the nature of the businesses you are doing, you have fruits around for your professional health. If they are not fruits, you could find that even over the weekends, whenever I get time, I normally do some exercise because I know how tedious it can be for the mind and the body at the same time. I don't know if I've answered you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom, for that great answer. So, yeah, of course, we are young people and we need to maximize our work. Even me personally, I have a day job, I have a night job, I have a weekend job, and my friends, things are not easy. So things are not easy. Yeah. So
Mr. Mkalele, you are muted.
another person. We have a person. Sorry, someone was calling, and I hope you can still hear me. I can see Segirinya Stephen. Segirinya Stephen, do you have something to say? Okay, so meanwhile, you just put up your hand in case you have a question, and then I'll be able to give you a chance. Abdul Ismail. Abdul Ismail, I don't know if you have something to say. Meanwhile, as you are thinking of something, let me first ask you this question. So, Mr. Segirinya, I'm going to be asking my questions in line with Mr. Erick Tom. I'm asking my questions in line with this DIT thing. So, one of the things I saw, they told us about the duties and tasks. Sorry, let me start to someone who is having speaker, so it's fine. Okay, so you have told us about the duties and tasks, and that is fine. You have told us about the survey, surveying the place, the venue, and knowing exactly your place, how it is, and making sure that your audience is well served. And also there is the technicalities now of connecting the amplifiers and everything. But what I want to ask you now is that is now the role. So there is this part of branding yourself, because you see you are a DJ. People need to know that you are a DJ so that they give you business. So how did you, there's this creating a DJ name. What is your, how do you go by on the stage? And so here there's branding. Some of us, you talked about WordPress. For me, I'm a web developer. So when it comes to web development, how do I brand? How do I market myself? How does ICT come in? I'm seeing things to do with social media and all these ones. Make sure that we can be able to promote the DJ side of us, and then also alongside the job. Yeah. So tell me something about your brand name and how do you get clients? How do you market yourself in this field?
Okay. I hope you are able to hear me, Mr. Rogers.
Yes, yes.
Okay, to begin with, most of the times when you're talking about branding for DJing, this is a business that runs from how you play your music set, how you organize your set. That is the first thing. And it normally runs up to how you prepare yourself for work. How do you appear before work? I would definitely have a drop because we normally have the DJ drops. As you are playing the music, once in a while, your name goes through. Some people are always irritated by the nature of the drops that the DJs normally have. So you have different drops for different modes. That is one. Secondly, I would wish to share my screen briefly here. I hope we are able to see that. Is it?
Yes.
Now, that is a photo where I'm putting on a sweater shirt that is branded with Ash Tosmic Night. This is a night that is themed about a DJ, and it is a Tosmic night. Now, you could also have, I think I have some other one that I can still share here. As far as branding is concerned, I have the photos and then I have the posters that communicate so much about what happens. These posters, most of the times, we use them. For example, if you go to my social media handles, and by the way, on a serious note, I am not branding myself so much as a teacher, however much I know how much impact it can have. For those who have always been in WordCamp, you could find that my Twitter account would always bring Tosmic, but people would ask, who is this DJ in the WordCamp? Because they normally expected an audience of web developers and probably ICT teachers. Now, the branding alone begins with the names that are used on the social media platforms and how these names are being applied in these other fields that we engage in. So the way you dress up, when you show up for work, you could be putting on a t-shirt that describes who you are. You could use the drops. You could use your social media handles extensively to also come up with a brand that explains well what happens. Whenever I show up for work, if I'm working for a company, we have teardrops that are always pinned there. And then the backdrops. The backdrops normally have even the logos. So I also have a DJ logo for Tosmic, and it is also there. So that is how I normally brand.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so members, I know some of us ICT teachers, but we don't even have a Twitter handle. So when we go to WordCamps or when we go to some events, we cannot even tweet. We should really be on top of the game and also know how to utilize these skills. Okay, so I wanted to give a chance to someone to say something. Segirinya had unmuted last time. I want someone to unmute and ask a question or share an experience. Yes, Segirinya, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephen Segirinya, an ICT teacher. I was teaching at Comprehensive Secondary School Workshop.
Okay.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes,
yeah, you can turn on your...
Yes, thank you. I was saying I was teaching at Comprehensive Secondary School Workshop, ICT. At the same time working with an implementing partner as the data assistant from Masaka. But basically, I could find challenges whereby I could be at workshop teaching ICT in the middle of the lesson, and I get calls from Masaka people asking me about some information here and there. Sometimes I'm teaching, my supervisor calls me. I cannot tell them that I'm away from, from the facility. I'm in class, and I end up maybe not picking up their calls. I end up disappointing them. So my question to DeeJay Tosmic is, don't you sometimes get also such challenges of people calling you in the middle of the lesson and disturb your lesson? Because it happens that someone calls you, you feel you cannot support them that very time, even the morale of teaching disappears. Don't you get such challenges also? Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Eric.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Segirinya. Now, Mr. Segirinya, that is why when I was starting, I was talking about mainly how we can have these things done with the tips of understanding one, creating a schedule, managing your time effectively, learning to delegate, identifying opportunities that can help you combine professions, because each of us has different professions. But then you realize that whatever you are going to do, that will always happen. Why would I switch off my phone when I'm going to sleep? It is because you are managing your time effectively. You are understanding that this time is for this. I would normally advise that because I am a person who doesn't go with the phone to class. And if you do go with the phone to class, that means you should put it in flight mode. Because we know the nature of the people that we are working with. Someone who will give you business.
Eric, I don't know whether I'm the one who has lost you.
I don't know. Am I loud and clear?
Okay, it's fine.
I can continue.
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so I'm saying managing time effectively needs you to be someone who could understand and at some point be able to make a sound decision. When you're in class teaching, of course, there are phones that we are very sure you would not pick up. But sometimes to avoid all that, when we were still students in secondary, one of our head teachers used it to say a teacher should not go with the phone to class. However, this is a different generation of late, whereby we are having teachers who are teaching, but content is on the phone. So not going with the phone to class would not be a very good idea, but learning to understand that this time is for this business. Take an example of I am a DJ and I'm already playing music somewhere. Probably my bagole are entering, and that is a very sensitive time for me as a DJ. And then the head teacher calls you to ask you for results, or probably the DOS or some other person. So sometimes you need to understand when to communicate what. You just know that at this moment of time, I'm not receiving calls because this is where I'm focusing. And that is how you get the best results. Concentration. These are things we normally tell students at school. Concentrate and read. And then for you, you are in some other business and you are not concentrating, you are also doing something else. So conclusively, sir, I would suggest that you manage your time effectively and make decisions for the better. Because honestly, you cannot balance the two, especially when you are standing with your legs wide apart. One leg is in this business, another one is in this business. So you just make a decision. This time I'm here, that is what I'm doing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, I also have such a challenge. I'm a web developer. I have several websites I've done. I brag of over at least 100 websites which I've touched and I've worked on. So you find that I'm at work and maybe some other work, and then a client calls me, my website is down. So you find that again, you are distracted, you have to leave this work and then you go the other. So one of the things I think is that you can actually have phone numbers whereby as DJ Tosmic, you have a phone number that you use in that business. And then also you have workmates, fellow DJs and all that. So when you're at school, that phone number for the DJ is either in silence or you leave it with your assistant or your colleague, such that when you go back at 5 or when you are through with the lessons, that's when you get that line, and then you can follow through the missed calls or they can brief you who called. So otherwise, you may find that you
Are we losing you, Mr. Rogers? Oh.
And this one brings me to the other question. I don't know whether my internet is clear. Are you hearing me well? Or I'm breaking?
Yes, we had lost you, but you are now very clear.
Hey. Okay, so let me ask this last question on my end, and then I'll get one more question from the audience, and then we shall be able to conclude with our session. So in this DIT thing, which profiles the DJ profession, they talk about the administrative tasks. And in this case, they have what you call keeping records, pricing your services, okolera sente meka ssebo, osobola okunkolera ku mitwalo 5 oba my birthday yange. Then nekirala, so how do you price yourself? Because this is now like a freelance work, and the team, how do you build a team? We have what we call here they are saying attending DJ meeting. That means you need to know, you need to have a team. You need to have a team. You need to know how to package this as a business and do it professionally and keep your records, know your clients, have a clear business plan so that your thing is well done. Have a clear pricing and be a professional at your work. So, Mr. DeeJay Tosmik, you could be when you are a freelancer, but when you have not structured your work very well, you just work for any money, you don't have rates, you don't have a team, you don't have a clear plan. That is something I want you to tell us something about this. If you lost maybe other jobs, can you survive as a DJ and be able to make some money and be able to make ends meet?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. Briefly, let me start with the issue of pricing. Most of the times, it is what I was telling you about briefly before, that you can have so many DJs that could be able to play the same songs you are going to play, but someone always has that feel of, since he's the one that is playing it, then he's playing the right song. Now, what does that mean? That goes back to pricing. There is a reason why these people will look at you and respect you, and that also matters very much. There is a reason why you would go and play on a wedding and your personal appearance will attract so much about your pricing. Why should you go when you are shabby to someone's wedding? Because you know you are just going there to play music. Your branding alone is the one that determines the price. There is no reason why I would come with a capital worth 20 million on your event and you are telling me I'm going to give you 50,000 just because for your birthday had that budget for sound. So there are factors we look at, and in most cases, there are people who would be having their own sound. So someone tells you, I only need the DJ services. I need you as a DJ, your laptop, your players, and things like that. And then someone will tell you, for me, I need entirely everything on you. So the issue of pricing is dependent on, one, the venue where I'm going to work from, the nature of the event that I'm going to work on, and the expectations out of me from your audience or from my client. Because someone who is expecting me to be around for only 2 hours in the night is having maybe a proposal or something like that for their loved ones cannot be priced the same as someone who has a wedding that even has a kasiki over the night. So these are things that change accordingly. Then one other thing is the team. There are many factors that I look at when I'm choosing a team. If I happen to be having a prom party for a school, I know which team can go and represent very well for a prom party. But then I know if I'm having a group of responsible people, probably people are getting married and they are in 40 years plus, those are people who attract a completely different DJ and probably different setup of everything. So you choose a team accordingly. And then this is a team that must be able to understand what you are doing. A team that must be able to respect you and know whatever you go through to bring businesses to the table. So that is how we look at the team. And besides, the meetings issue. The meetings are there, but they are mainly to sort one thing, which nature of music is played where. You sit down and understand which people I'm going to work with. These days you sit and you move around. There are so many songs playing all over. But then you need to understand the audience of the people that need the music. So you have to know that even if I'm not at the venue already, probably I'm handling something, but the people that I delegated to go and start, maybe they have a service, they are beginning with the prayers in the morning, they only need microphones. And the DJ is testing the sound with a song that is very weird for people who are planning to play. So you find it a little hard that way. So the meetings will always come. And it is the meetings that determine what happens next.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know who is that lucky person to give the last comment. I'm not seeing the hands up. Okay, so I wanted one more person and then we give closing remarks because our time is fast spent. And I wanted to hear from a lady, Nanyondo Jackie. We are very glad and delighted to have you on the call. Do you have any comment? Do you do any side gig or you only do one job? We don't have Nanyondo Jackie, what is your key takeaway from this session? Do you have something to say?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Am I
go
being
ahead.
heard?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Unfortunately, however, I'm not in the teaching profession, but I just enjoy following. I'm in the health profession. I'm just enjoying everything I always follow. But also for this session, network has failed me, so I haven't got most of it. I kept dropping off because of network. Thank you.
Yeah.
I submit.
Otherwise, we are delighted to hear from you. And thank you very much for joining in. Yeah, so Mr. Eric, I know our time is fast spent. I want you to give some final remarks on this, and then we shall be wrapping up.
So briefly, I would advise at some point. Thank you, Madam Nanyondo. We are very lucky to have a health professional pairing with ICT teachers. But mainly, I would look at and advise at the same time that each of us can get a side gig. These are things that may not be very professional, but it could be talent. Probably someone could be talented in doing something in a way that could make you earn some money. So those are the things that we try to look at. Because at the end of the day, whenever we go to the market, whenever we go to any other place to spend, when you reach there, nobody will ever ask you how you got the money. But the fact just remains, you have the money. That alone is just enough. So having the side gigs and knowing how best to play your cards right will always have a very great impact on how we want to have these things done. It is already 9, Mr. Rogers. I'm very thankful to the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. And I would really wish to end there. I just hope we all have a good time and let us keep following. We have our YouTube channel. We can always engage. Mr. Rogers, I see Mr. Segirinya putting up a hand. I don't know if really has a burning issue.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Eric, for sharing. And members, I would not leave without encouraging us to continue joining in for the Each One Teach One series. As the ICT Teachers Association, we want to be not just chatting in the WhatsApp group, but also joining on Zoom, because we are ICT people. We join on Zoom and we share. In case you are interested in sharing a topic next time, you can tell us. Today we have talked about DeeJay. Maybe next time we can look at another profession, or we could look at something technical within the subject, or we can look at, we want to balance professionalism, we want to balance work, we want to balance ways of life. So you can always communicate to us and be able to suggest, and then we can be able to schedule you, you prepare something and you share with the team. And also I want to advertise the WordCamp. I'm the lead organizer for WordCamp Ginger. And this year we want to look at the web developer profession in detail, just like we have been discussing the DeeJay profession. So we want to look at everything from start to end. This time it is 3 days, and we shall have WordCamp Ginger in the second term holiday. That is going to be 4th, and this time it's a Monday and Tuesday, not a weekend, but in the holiday. But there is also a WordCamp Kampala, which is coming actually closer in a few weeks. That is going to be in August 4th and 5th. So our WordCamp Kampala is coming first, then Ginger, then Masaka. So be part of this and come and we learn. We don't only learn web design, we also learn other things in general in design. And even you can have a topic like this, balancing work, you can have all these topics there. Yeah, otherwise, I want to wish you all the best. And I want to thank our sponsors and the who are supporting us. I want to thank the Geek Village, the Kings of Computer Repair. You can check out on their website, Geek Village. That is Mr. Dumba's side. I don't know whether it is a side gig or it is the core gig. Mr. Dumba is on School of Computing, and then also there is the MK Graphics. okay, and the ICT Association of Uganda itself. Yeah, so for now, I want to end here, and the Mr. Segirinya, I see your hand was put down. I was going to give you opportunity to close for us, give a last word, and then give us a closing prayer. Mr. Segirinya, do you have? I think you put your hand down. Yes, give the final remark and close with a short prayer. Okay, you are unable to unmute.
All right, thank you. My issue was about some connection. Recently, last week, I was appointed as data assistant at some health center here in Kalangala, where I'm going to have my permanent employment. So I'm looking for some teachers, ICT teachers around Kalangala. If members have any contact of those teachers in Kalangala, please forward their contacts, maybe in the WhatsApp group that I get there. I need some connections here in Kalangala. I'm 2 weeks old here. That was the issue. Thank you.
It's fine. I'm going to the database. So we normally capture contacts of teachers who attend the workshops of ITAU. I have over 2,000 contacts of ICT teachers. So I'll check the database and forward you something. Okay, so are you close for us? Close for us, Stephen, with a short prayer.
All right, thank you. Dear Lord Father, thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for this wonderful moment. We thank you that you have enabled us to go through the day. We pray that all we have discussed here, members may be able to borrow a leaf to improve on their life as we all aiming at making our profession as teachers the better way. Lord Father, we pray that you may help us go through this night. We work better tomorrow and other days to come. In Jesus' name we have prayed, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice evening. See you next Tuesday on the same link, another topic and another present.